The session control tab is where you can add additional context to the AI. Essentially what happens with Audzone is anything that's in here, whether it be a checklist, and you'll find checklists attached based on the appointment type, which is up there, and anything you type there or check will be added to the AI when it generates the note and can be used as part of the information. Similarly, anything you type here, whether it be shorthand, longer instructions, a PDF that you can't read, if you drop it in here, it will actually extract the text for you. You can also do things like drag audiograms and paste them, and it will extract the audiogram. Some pedometry results, any questionnaire results, etc. It will interpret it and add it to the context for the AI. So I'll just save that. And any of those kind of documents you drop will appear here at the bottom, and they can later be used in your report writing, etc. It's not necessary to use that or drop an audiogram. Audzone is able to infer from your explanation to the client whether the otoscopy is clear, whether the TIMP's been done, but it's always helpful to give it clearer information here, and particularly audiograms. If you're going to be looking at our compliance tool, or you want your notes to have specifics about the audiogram, like 3 frequency averages, 4 frequency averages, etc. for NDIS, just taking a photo or a copy of the audiogram and dropping it in here is very, very helpful for adding context. The session control also allows you to upload files via mobile. That's very handy, particularly when a client brings you an audiogram from somewhere else that's been scribbled on a bit of paper. The system can read handwriting, so just click on the mobile phone icon there. That gives you a QR code that you scan with your mobile phone. It allows you to then take multiple photos, so you can take photos of the tympanometer output, your audiograms if you wanted to, any handwritten notes, any handwritten documents, and upload them all at once, and it will extract all that data and add it to the context for the AI to generate your final notes or documents for that matter. So very handy, but not necessary to use if you don't want to. Here you can also do an HHIA assessment with the patient on the spot, and they can either click or you can click as they answer. You could even email that HHIA appointment assessment to the patient prior to them seeing you. So just open a session, type in the email address and send a link, and they'll receive a link and they can do that on their mobile phone. Here you can review any audiograms for the patient that's been imported and then compare them as well. You just need to select which ones you want to compare, and you can see how things have changed. Put them side by side or just show the difference between the two. They're obviously not the same patient, it was just testing, but that gives you an idea. You can also use, if you wanted to, a hearing simulator. That's very handy for explaining hearing loss to the patient, and also includes things like showing how speaker distance affects things like the SSI, as well as the positioning. It takes things like head shadow effect into account with the different audiograms, and also different acoustics in the environment, how loud the speaker's speaking, what the background noise is, noise levels, etc. And it shows you a nice display of what the patient can expect to hear under those conditions, with hearing aids versus no hearing aids, and all the speech sounds are blurred. And as you can see, as they speak louder, that clarifies a little bit more. As the speaker lowers their voice, it dims again. So just a good way of explaining the hearing loss. You can also pop that out onto another browser tab, which you can then display on the big screen if you wanted to. So just a handy tool. You don't need to use it, but certainly makes it easy. On the session control, you also have the chat. The chat is very helpful in that you can chat about this patient over several sessions. So if this patient has been seen previously for an assessment and then comes for a follow-up and then now for the 9:30, 9:40 review, you can ask questions like, that, and you can send that message. You can ask anything. What color hearing aid did we discuss? We've only had this one appointment, so it's basically just addressing this one appointment, but you can actually see the journey over time if they've had several sessions. If you ask a question quite commonly, you can just click here to save it to favorites, and what will happen is it will appear in this drop-down list for future sessions, not only for this patient, but for any patient. So if there's a question you ask a lot, just click on this little favorite bit and you can reuse that question again. If you want to export it, you can copy it either as text or HTML to paste it in your notes or somewhere else if you wished. So that's the session chat. With sessions with checklists, there's various kinds. You can simply check, you can add comments there, and carry on as you wish. People find them very helpful to guide them as to where they are in the process. And when you generate a note, it'll also give you, if you've got that selected under the company, a quick summary of what was checked in the checklist. And again, that adds additional context for our compliance checker to see, have you done all the steps? Anything that's not captured in speech could either be typed there or in the checklist or in the context. So it will use whatever you give it to try and make as much sense out of the patient as it can. And the more you give it, the more accurate and complete your notes are going to be. So that is basically what the session control is about. And that's the tab you should be on most of the time while you're recording. Just one last thing, you can start your recording from here. You can pause and stop, so you don't need to use the top controls if you didn't want to. That's just your patient consent, which if you don't have consent, it will allow you to add consent. Or you can even revoke consent. If this patient specifically says they don't want to be recorded, you can click there and revoke that consent for future recordings, and that will stop you from just recording them in the future. So thank you.